So today, we're going to be talking about these 4 different things. I want you to be detectives and find them in the book Click, Clack, Moo, Cows That Type. This is one of my favorite books. So if you have your voices off and you're sitting on your pockets, crisscross applesauce, you should be the best listeners ever. Because I really don't want to get distracted during this book because I love reading it. Okay? Please. Click, clack, moo. Cows that type. Farmer Brown has a problem. His cows like to type all day long. He hears click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. Clickety, clack, moo. At first, he couldn't believe his ears. Cows that type? Impossible. Click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. Clickety, clack, moo. Then, he couldn't believe his eyes. Dear Farmer Brown, the barn is very cold at night. We'd like some electric blankets. Sincerely, the cows. It was bad enough that cows had found the old typewriter in the barn. Now they wanted electric blankets? No way, said Farmer Brown. No electric blankets. So the cows went on strike. They left a note on the barn door. Sorry, we're closed for milk today. No milk today? Cried Farmer Brown. In the background, he heard the cows busy at work. Click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. Clickety, clack, moo. The next day, he got another note. Dear Farmer Brown, the hens are cold too. They'd like electric blankets. Sincerely, the cows. The cows were growing impatient with the farmer. They left a new note on the barn door. Closed. No milk, no eggs. No eggs? Cried Farmer Brown. In the background, he heard them. Click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. Clickety, clack, moo. Cows that type, hens on strike. Who ever heard of such a thing? How can I run a farm with no milk and no eggs? Farmer Brown was furious. Farmer Brown got out his own typewriter. Dear cows and hens, there will be no electric blankets. You are cows and hens. I demand milk and eggs. Sincerely, Farmer Brown. Sounds kind of mad. Duck was a neutral party, so he brought the ultimatum to the cows. The cows held an emergency meeting. All the animals gathered around the barn to snoop, but none of them could understand moo. All night long, Farmer Brown waited for an answer. Duck knocked on the door early the next morning. He handed Farmer Brown a note. Dear Farmer Brown, we will exchange our typewriter for electric blankets. Leave them outside the barn door, and we will send Duck over with the typewriter. Sincerely, the cows. Farmer Brown decided this was a good idea. He left the blankets next to the barn door and waited for Duck to come with the typewriter. The next morning, he got a note. Dear Farmer Brown, the pond is quite boring. We'd like a diving board. Sincerely, the ducks. Click, clack, quack. Click, clack, quack. Clickety, clack, quack. Looks like they got what they wanted. I love that book. It's one of my favorites. Who can tell me some of the characters in that story? Who are some of the characters, Taryn?
The cows and...
The cows?
What was the saying?
Were there some other characters too?
Yeah.
Yeah? Who do you think the main character was today? This is kind of a tricky one. Who do you think the main character was, Brady?
The cows.
The cows? But wasn't Farmer Brown really important?
Yeah.
Do you think he could be a main character too?
Yeah.
So maybe we have 2 main characters in this story. That's interesting. What was our setting?
In the barn?
The barn.
spikes or out spikes.
What's the big setting in our story? So our main setting was the...
I said the...
So what was our problem in this story? Taylor?
The cows are typing.
Cows that type. That was a huge problem, wasn't it?
I know.
So how did we solve this problem? What was our solution, Colin? So they had an exchange. Now we learned in math what the word exchange means. So what do you think it means? Who knows what that means, Rosalind?
It means you're going to have something and someone's going to give you something and you're going to give them something.
So when they exchanged their blankets for typewriters, in our story, that means Farmer Brown took the typewriter and gave them blankets. The cows took the blankets and gave the typewriter. Pretty cool story, isn't it? We had lots of different story elements. So when you're writing your own stories, you need to think about these story elements. Your own stories, Aiden, should always have characters. You should explain to me where the setting is. So if it's at your house, if it's at Disney World, something like that, you should have a problem. What did you do? Why did that happen? And how did it get better? Your solution. Okay? So there's 4 things that we need to focus on today when we're writing. Your story should have lots of details, right? And if you have lots of details, you will have all 4 of these things. Okay? Okay? Let's get to writing. We have about 15 minutes worth of time.